What's a bus? And no, I'm not talking about the kind the Frizz took to outer space. A bus is essentially where you can create a group of several instruments or several vocals or what have you, and store them all to where you only have to move one fader as opposed to moving 3 or 4. So in this episode of Behind the Board, we're going to take the instrument tracks we laid down in episodes 1 and 2, and we're going to put them together after they've been mixed. So we only have to deal with one fader instead of 5. Let's go behind the board.
This one's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode because we only have mainly one thing to cover, and that is what is a bus. In the last episode, we looked at some effects. We added compressors to our electronic piano and our organ, and we added a reverb for all 5 through an send. Let's take these off because I'm gonna show you a different way to do this and to group our tracks. I know I said in the intro we're gonna use one fader instead of 5, but we're gonna do this into groups just so we can further demonstrate this. Let's go start with the bass and drums first. So what we're gonna do is shift click on the bass and the drums, right click because that's where all the good stuff starts, and then go to route 2 because you're basically routing it to a different channel. Go to new output bus since we don't have one. There we go. It says right here the output is to these buses. Let's change the name. Double click to bass and beat. There we go. Let's change the color just because why not? Let's do bright gray. Now gonna use the FX send on this track now. Whenever I move this is now in control of the bass and the drums here. I can also pan this one way or another. I'm not going to pan it a lot. Just a little bit. You can also EQ this entire section too, if you wanted to. I'm going to leave it plain since I have 2 different EQs, but you can do that if you want to. That's how a bus works. And let's go ahead and add a bus to these as well. Once again, shift click on all 3 of these. Let's go to route 2. Let's add a new output bus. This is going to be the keys output. All the keys are going to be routed and sent through here. Let's go and change the color because eventually we're going to have so many colors it's going to get confusing. So let's just make it as different as possible. Let's go with red. And now I can solo this. Mute these 2 as well. There you have it. So again, we can pan this a little bit as well. And now what we've done is now we only have to move 2 faders as opposed to 5 because everything else is in groups. We have a group for the beat and the bass, and we have a group for the keys. That is pretty cool stuff. And one thing that you might have noticed me do is make sure that the panning was even for each side, because if you had one at 100 and one at 3, it's going to be really weird. It's just not going to sound right. Now what we can do, I did not really think about this. What we can do is I think we can actually add effects to the bus directly. See, now we have a compressor for the beat and the bass. So I can solo off this and mute keys here. Which of course you can reorganize the rack if you need to. Just depends on preference. Like right here, I'm gonna do that. So I can add a compressor to the beat and the bass if I want to. Not much, but it's enough. So yeah, this is very much a shorter episode, but there wasn't a lot to go over. In short, a bus or an auxiliary track, depending on how you want to put it, they're the same thing. But it's basically a way to group your tracks together. You can also add effects and sends to said group as well. And that's basically it. So you can no longer have to move 5 faders, and now you only have to move 2. Assuming you have everything mixed properly. And well, that's it for this video. In the next video, part 4 of this series, we will be looking at the main vocal. And I'll be showing you guys certain techniques we can do with that, like EQ and reverb. That is really important for vocals. We'll be learning about that in the next episode. See you guys then.